Hello everybody, welcome back to How to Build a B-1 Bomber. You guys want some videos? We're going to give you some videos. I'm going to sit down here and pull this tape off, and we're going to get this wing slicked up. See, that's nice and flat across there. I have my primer built all the way up to the top of this tape. I already got them off on the other side. You know, one thing I noticed with this camera is all these panel lines show up a lot better than with my old one. Let me get a look at that. Oh yeah. See them all? They'll look pretty good. Now, I just pretty much pulled that tape out of there, and I use sometimes some of that rubber from my tape gets stuck in these lines, so I go over it with this goof off stuff, just a little bit on a paper towel, and get some of that rubber out of there. It don't happen a lot, but if you mold it like that, in your finished part, that rubber is now resin. You see what I mean? And sometimes it's kind of rough, so I like to go over it with that paper towel. And these really don't come out too bad. It only took me 10-15 minutes to get the other side of the wing. But and also when you sand all the way down, it's really clean. These are real nice clean edge. Some people was asking about primer on one of them comments, and yeah, there's a big difference in primer. You know, some people think, well man, I could save a little money if I just go down to this and get some spray bombs, you know, spray cans of primer. And number one, that stuff is a lacquer primer. And boy, you don't want enamel primer. That's what Krylon and all that stuff is. And that stuff's real hard to sand and it clogs up your paper. But even if you get, you know, sometimes I use that spot filler primer, you know, for little parts and stuff like that. But when you go doing big areas with it, you think, when you start out, you think, man, I'm going to save a little money. But you end up got to keep going back to the store. Keep going back. Keep going back. Before you know it, you spent just as much money buying spray bombs than if you just would have got good primer to start with. Okay, that's one reason. Another reason is that lacquer shrinks. Okay, now I've used that stuff in the past, and I painted this one airplane one time. I glassed it. Primed it, you know, my glassing and priming method, and I had it really smooth, and I painted it. 2 days later, you can see every weave of glass in that airplane. It looked like I just painted fiberglass almost, and that was because that primer shrunk, and that happened too. And reason number three, when you're masking stuff off, say you spray one color, then you want to mask something off and spray it, that cheap primer don't hold paint very well. When you pull your tape off, it'll pull hunks of paint. And that's just terrible when that happens. So, I've learned in the past, it's better to just go buy a good primer. Now, I said that stuff was $100 a gallon. Okay, well the primer is only about 60 or 70 a gallon, but you got to buy the hardener with it. That's another 25, and then a gallon of the reducer. So before you leave in the paint store, you're actually paying about $100 a gallon by the time you get everything you need. But it's sure good stuff. Now this is a urethane. This is a high build urethane, and old Tom Cook says I should start using epoxy. He says that your resin will separate from it a lot easier. He said this urethane tends to be a little sticky. So, and I had already bought a couple gallons of this, and so I'm going to go ahead and use it up. But the next time I buy some, when I do my actual wing parts, I'm going to use the epoxy primer. And it's about the same price. I've already priced it down there at the paint store. And they give me good deals on stuff. You know, oh yeah, I buttered them up with a couple t-shirts, and and they watch my movies. And I can get it for about the same price as I get this urethane. So the next time I buy some, I'm going to try that epoxy. And I also had someone ask what brand my F-16 was. That is a Jet Legend. And I got that through Camlax. And we got a link on my website to Camlax. And on every one of these videos, I'm putting a link to my website, kind of on the right side of the screen when you're watching it. B1modelproject.com, baby. Me and Dad sure did have fun yesterday. We enjoyed making them movies for you guys. Actually, I think you guys would like it if I just taped that camera to my forehead and just walked around all the time. It's really crazy, ain't it? But, so I try and keep it a little entertaining as well as informative. Can't never know too much, you know? Not that I know everything. But me and Dad, we just got a way of figuring stuff out, you know, and making it work for us. And we just want to pass it along. You know, this modeling is a dying art because of the quality of the ARFs nowadays. Shoot, you can't build them airplanes for what you can buy an ARF for. That's why me and Dad's going to build stuff that ain't no ARFs of. Even though I do own a couple ARFs, you know. Bam! That's a done deal. Hey, look at that. Exactly 10 minutes. Okay.